Hey everybody, Thomas Joseph here. Now there's nothing quite like a crispy, crunchy, juicy chicken cutlet, but oftentimes we end up with something that's really soggy and flavorless. Well, today I'm gonna share with you the trick to the crispiest chicken cutlet ever. Today I'm using chicken thighs, and you could certainly make this recipe with chicken breasts if that's what you're interested in, but I really think that chicken thighs have a lot of flavor and they have a little bit more fat, which keeps the cutlet nice and moist throughout the cooking process. Now, I'm using 3-ounce chicken thighs here, and to get them into a nice even layer, and an even layer is what you're looking for because that will help the cutlet cook evenly, I'm gonna use a meat mallet and I'm gonna pound this out to a nice even thickness, about 1/4 of an inch. Now, when you have a meat mallet, you want to make sure that you're using the flat side to the meat mallet. That will give you a nice, even textured cutlet. This side over here that has these little ridges or teeth to it, this is for tenderizing the meat. It actually creates little kind of pockets and indentations, and it breaks up the muscle fibers. You don't necessarily want to use this because a chicken thigh is pretty tender, I'll say, especially when you're pounding it out to a nice thin layer. So flat side, pound the chicken breast using 2 sheets of plastic wrap here, and applying a nice even amount of pressure as you pound. And I like to move the mallet down and kind of off to the side. I don't like to keep just going straight up and down. I like to work my way towards the sides, and I really feel like this motion helps to create a nice even thickness. There we go, a nice even 1/4 inch thickness here. And I'm just gonna put these off to the side while I make the other components that are gonna create the nice crispy crust for this chicken. Now, to start, I'm gonna use buttermilk. Now, I love buttermilk. When you're making fried chicken, buttermilk is kind of the key, the secret ingredient that really adds a nice flavor to your chicken. And there's wonderful cultures in buttermilk that do help to tenderize meats, especially if you're letting the meats soak in them overnight. Now, this is 1 cup of buttermilk and it's at room temperature. And when you're making fried chicken, when you're making fried cutlets like this, it's really helpful to have all of your ingredients at room temperature. This way, when you go to fry them, it doesn't bring the oil down in temperature. You're not adding something cold to something hot. Now, to this, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of hot sauce here, and you can use your favorite hot sauce. This is just to add a little bit of flavor, a little bit of spice. If you had a favorite spice blend that you wanted to add here, you could certainly do that as well. Really, you can customize this recipe in any way that you would like. So I'm gonna whisk this together. I'm gonna add in a little bit of black pepper. I like black pepper, but you could use white pepper here, and some kosher salt. Let me give 2 nice pinches of the kosher salt. So whisk this together, and there you go. You have your buttermilk component here. So I have 2 baking dishes here filled with flour. This is a cup of all-purpose flour, and this is 1.5 cups. So now guys, it's really important when you're creating a breading or when you're creating a coating for your proteins to season every single layer. It's really important because that's how you're gonna get the most flavorful chicken in the end. So I'm seasoning all of my flour mixtures and also the buttermilk bath that it will go in. So salt and pepper. And then last but not least, I have a little bit of baking powder. This is 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and I'm gonna add this to this final dredging mixture. This is going to create these little clumps of wonderful flour and buttermilk, and it's gonna give you the most crispy, crunchy crust. It's double acting, and that means that it reacts at 2 different times. When it comes in contact with moisture, so with the buttermilk, and then also with heat, so in the oil. So just using a fork, mix up the seasoning and the baking powder, and then the dredging mixture here. Now, whenever you're breading, whether you're using eggs or you're using buttermilk like I am today, it's a 3-step process. So in front of me and what I'm mixing here, this is what I'm going to dredge the chicken cutlets in, and this creates a nice dry barrier between the cutlet and the next layer, which will be our buttermilk. And lastly, we have this mixture here, which is gonna be nice and crumbly because we're gonna add in 1/3 cup of our buttermilk mixture. So what we're doing is we're creating these nice clumps of batter that when they fry up on the outside of the chicken, they're gonna create really crunchy, flavorful bits. So just mix this together, and you can do it with a fork. And so now we're ready to bread our chicken thighs. So I'm gonna rearrange my stuff here, grab these wonderful chicken thighs, and to start, we're gonna go right into our flour mixture. So again, what this does, it creates a nice dry barrier which helps our buttermilk, or if you were using eggs, stick to it. So right into our buttermilk bath here. And what you want to do here, you don't want too much of this buttermilk mixture, guys, so let a little bit of the excess drip off. And then we're going right into our coating here. And you can take some of the breading and put it right up on top of the chicken cutlet, and using your hands here, guys, you really want to press and push the coating into the chicken cutlet. You want to make sure that the entire surface of the chicken is completely coated. So if you have any bald spots, what that is going to do is it's going to encourage oil to kind of penetrate underneath the breading, and you might end up with a soggy cutlet. Now, breading in general, the great thing about it is it creates this wonderful barrier for the chicken cutlet, so it protects the chicken in the cooking process, and you will get a nice moist chicken cutlet, and the outside, with its direct contact with the heat, will get nice and dry and crisp in the oil. So I'm gonna repeat the process here again, you guys, and then we're gonna get started on frying. All right, guys, our chicken cutlets are breaded nicely, and our oil is coming up to temperature. And I'm using a neutral oil, like a grapeseed oil. You could use a canola oil, any of the vegetable oils that can reach a high heat. That's what you want to use here. Now, I have it in a large Dutch oven, and as always, when I am deep frying, guys, I like to use a wire rack in the bottom of the pan. You can see it down there. And the reason why, I like the food to sit up from the bottom of the pan, so it's not on direct heat with the burner. It's elevated in the center of the oil, so it cooks nice and evenly, and it gets nice and brown on all sides. So my oil is at 360 degrees, anywhere between 360 degrees and 380. That's where you want to keep the temperature here. A good tip to have, guys, is have a little bit of oil on hand. In case your oil goes up way too high, you can add a little bit of oil to your pot, and that will reduce the temperature. But I'm looking good here. We're climbing up to like 365 degrees. And so now I'm gonna add in my chicken. Now you can see here how beautiful they look. You can see those wonderful craggy pieces. And this is really what you're looking for. And the fact that these are at room temperature, guys, that means that they're gonna cook quickly in the oil, and they're not gonna bring the oil down too much in temperature. So I'm gonna put one in at a time, gently. Now, the reason you do this one at a time and you do it nice and gently is because the oil likes to bubble up in the pot, and you wanna make sure that it's not overflowing on you. So slowly and gently. And these chicken cutlets, guys, will take anywhere from 3 to 4 minutes to cook. Now, you could certainly use an instant read thermometer here, and you want the chicken to be at an internal temperature of about 160 to 165 degrees. But most importantly, you want the chicken to be nice and golden brown and delicious. Okay, guys, so it's been about 3 minutes, and our chicken is so beautiful and golden brown and delicious. Look at this, you guys. You can see all those nice little crunchy bits of coating that have flaked up on the cutlet. This is what's gonna give you that amazing crunch. Now, as always, when you're frying, I like to tell people that you should take your fried food and remove it to a wire rack set over a rimmed baking sheet so that it can cool slightly and drain. When you remove fried food to a paper towel lined plate or something like that, what happens is the bottom side is in direct contact with the paper towel on the bottom of the plate or your baking sheet, and it creates steam, and that steam is going to make your coating a little bit soggy. And of course, when you are done frying, give the chicken cutlets or whatever it is a little bit of a sprinkling of salt. You could use a flaky sea salt if you like, but I'm just using plain coarse kosher salt. And a great way to serve this is as a sandwich. So I have some nice toasted buns, a little bit of tartar sauce. I'm gonna put it on both sides, the bottom and the top of the bun. Now you could use your favorite mayo, a flavored mayo, a sriracha mayo would be great. Just place your chicken cutlet right on the bottom here. Some pickles. You can top this with whatever you'd like, you guys. It's really up to you. I like a little bit of shredded lettuce. Look at this monster sandwich. Top it with the bun. And there you go, guys. You have an amazing chicken cutlet that's gonna be crunchy, delicious, but moist and tender on the inside. Now remember those tips and tricks. Now, as always, guys, if you have any kitchen conundrums that you want us to solve, let us know, and I'm gonna let you guys know how crunchy and crispy this chicken is. And so, listen up. So good, you guys. This is the crispiest chicken cutlet you will ever make. Try this recipe. I promise you'll like it. Enjoy. And as always, guys, click like and subscribe.